So
So, before we get into the crux of the Babymetal lore, here's my interpretation of how the lore works. Overall, I see the lore in each Metal Resistance episode as their own self-contained story in each concert, with some references to past and future concerts as well. So technically the lore is an overarching storyline with its own story, if that makes any sense. I don't consider Legend IDZ, Legend 1999, and Legend 1997 as a part of the main lore, since Metal Resistance Episode 1 doesn't start until the Budokan shows in 2014, but once I talk about the Sue lore and the Black Babymetal lore, I will reference these concerts. Now, let's actually get to Metal Resistance Episode 1. It begins at Budokan Red Night, when Koba Metal introduces himself to the audience, stating that he is a messenger who delivers oracles to Babymetal from the Fox God. The Fox God then sends down the Kami Bang to the stage, stating that they will give Babymetal more power for the Metal Resistance, the mission from the Metal Masters, to conquer the Budokan Arena. Babymetal succeeds in conquering the Budokan Arena, acquiring the legendary corset. This legendary corset then turns into metal balls and ascends into the sky, dyeing it crimson red, the countdown then beginning to Doomsday, the last chapter of Metal Resistance Episode 1. Budokan Black Night then begins, with a story of a bell that will ring from the giant magic circle, indicating the end of Metal Resistance Episode 1. The prologue to the summon story explains that Babymetal will be summoned to the giant magic circle on the day when they depart for new adventures. The Fox God says that once the bell rings, a new legend will resound from the circle, the Fox God Mother saying, "It is you who shall ring the gong," which is what Sue accomplishes at the end of Headbanger. The story of how the Metal Resistance started is now revealed. Once upon a time, the world was overrun by the big powerful idols, who controlled politics, the economy, and the mass media. All music other than idol music was seen as harmful, and the apostles prayed for the restoration of metal music. Their prayers then reached the Fox God, who named 3 girls, Sue Metal, Yui Metal, and Moa Metal, as the dark heroines of the idol scene, and named them Babymetal, a fusion of idol music and heavy metal, sending them down to earth to grant the apostles' wishes. Before they could obtain the legendary corset, the Fox God put Babymetal through many trials, and although they were young and were uncertain of the unknown, they soon prevailed, changing their trials into legends. And because of Babymetal's triumph, their metal spirit brought a new breath to the land, and at last, the big powerful idols raised up the fox signs, the symbol of the Metal Resistance, ending the war. The metal spirit continued to blaze on, so the Fox God decided to summon Babymetal to a new world, a world where they will advance to foreign lands. Episode 1 of Metal Resistance ends with Sue Metal, Yui Metal, and Moa Metal arising from the giant magic circle, and enter their coffins, flying off to spread their metal spirit to new lands. Now on to some breakdowns for this episode. Who is the Fox God? The Fox God is an enigma of sorts, who sends down messages to Babymetal, who then relates them to Babymetal. The Fox God is coined as the God of Metal, and is the one who chose Su, Yui, and Moa as the members of Babymetal, who will revive the metal scene. The Fox God is mentioned numerous times after, so this is just a basic overview of what it is. The Fox Godmother is a mother of the Fox God, but we don't really get any information on her during the Budokan shows, and she is never mentioned again afterwards. Babymetal is the messenger of the Fox God, who relays information to Babymetal on what to do. He appears in the beginning of almost all of Babymetal's concerts, to tell the audience on what songs the group will perform, or how the audience should react. The apostles who prayed for the restoration of metal could be interpreted as Babymetal's fandom, but we really don't get a clear answer on that. The big powerful idols are a reference to female Japanese idol groups, more specifically AKB48, and its numerous different units. The giant magic circle is a reference to the Budokan stage set, since it is designed to look like a pentagram. The gong at the end of Headbanger represents the sound of the bell that will ring to end episode 1 of Metal Resistance. The Metal Masters are mentioned during Budokan Black Knight, but we won't know who they are until later, so consider this as a footnote. Lastly, the 3 giant red coffins that Babymetal enter towards the end of Black Knight is a mode of transportation for them to travel to different lands, before ultimately returning to Japan. The coffins ceased to exist once we get to the New Year Fox Festival in 2015, but that's for later. Now, on to Metal Resistance Episode 2. Episode 2 starts at the Forum in London, a narrator retelling the story on how the Metal Resistance began, and how Babymetal were created. A long time ago in a metal galaxy far away, the Metal Master grieved about the period of civil war, stating that all heavy metal roads lead to Europe, where the Big Fox resides. The Metal Resistance then began in Japan, where the Fox God created Babymetal, giving them the mission to make the world become one with heavy metal again. So, Babymetal, the guardians of heavy metal, traveled across the galaxy, landing in Europe. The epilogue to the 2014 Makuhari show explains a holy pilgrimage, a trial that Babymetal was put through by the Fox God. The Big Fox, also known as the 4 Heavenly Kings, are incarnations of the Fox God, who invited Babymetal to take part in the holy pilgrimage, and to set forth on a journey to foreign lands. Although the pilgrimage was tough, Babymetal stood strong against the battle, and stirred up the metal spirit in the brave warriors of the foreign land. Babymetal, now entrusted with the future of metal by the Big Fox, will soon set forth on a new journey to awaken the lost metal spirit, known as the Metal Heart, in Japan, revealing Metal Resistance Episode 3. But the holy pilgrimage is not over yet, since Babymetal will travel back to foreign lands once again, to find something called the New Tune. Once Babymetal finds the New Tune, they will come back to the Land of the Rising Sun, at Saitama Super Arena in 2015, the New Year Fox Festival. The finale to Metal Resistance Episode 2 begins at the Brixton Academy, the narrator retelling the prologue of the summons ceremony that occurred during Budokan Black Knight. The Fox God once again says that, if there is an end, there is a beginning, an infinite loop. They once again mention the sound of the bell, which will be rung in foreign lands, declaring that once it is rung, Metal Resistance Episode 2 will conclude, and a new legend will begin. The Fox Godmother is mentioned again, so disregard what I said earlier in the episode 1 breakdown, sorry about that. She then repeats that the one who sounds the gong is you, which is what Su does once again at the end of Headbanger. With the gong rung, Metal Resistance Episode 2 is officially completed. Now for some breakdowns of Episode 2. There isn't a lot of lore in Episode 2, since it's somewhat of a repeat from Episode 1, but there are a few new things. In my interpretation, I think the Metal Masters are three beings who grieved about the Civil War, one in Europe, one specifically in the UK, and one in Japan, since in each picture story, the Metal Master states that all heavy metal roads must lead somewhere, one being Europe, one being the UK, and one being Japan, but that might just be me reading too far into things. The Holy Pilgrimage is a reference to Babymetal's journey through new lands. The rising sun mentioned is just a shorthand version of the land of the rising sun, which is known as Japan. The last piece of lore we really get is the Big Fox, who is the god of heavy metal, aka the Fox God. Now, on to Metal Resistance Episode 3. Episode 3 starts right at the end of Episode 2, telling a story about the creation of the One. Almost 5 billion years ago, the One came into existence, evolving into mankind as the years passed. Mankind brought numerous bouts of evolution onto the planet, eventually guiding the world into the virtual age. Although technology, including the computer, created unlimited dreamlike worlds, mankind soon lost the most important thing to them, their souls. The Fox God questioned mankind if what they see before them is real or a virtual reality, and asks if they know the answer to their question, the answer being Babymetal. The Fox God then says to leave behind your technology for the future you, and to sing loudly, to let your metal souls burn like a dragon, as a new song has come into Babymetal's possession, the new tune. The time of the Metal Resistance has come, and the Fox God tells the audience to offer up the Fox sign, which is their destiny. Everyone there will soon become the One. The new tune, Road of Resistance, is then performed. With Babymetal finally acquiring the new tune and converting mankind into the One in foreign lands, their holy pilgrimage is finally completed, and they can now return to Japan to awaken the lost metal heart. The true beginning of the trilogy series now begins at Saitama Super Arena. The start of the show recounts the events in episode 2, explaining that the people around the world lost their metal souls, and how the Fox God summoned Babymetal on the holy pilgrimage to make the world one with metal again. Babymetal succeeded, bringing mankind together as the One. After their journey through the metal galaxy and establishing a new legend, Babymetal finally returned to the land of the rising sun as a new metal resistance begins. They are uncertain of what the future holds, but they remember what the Fox God taught them: where there is no road, you must make one yourself. There is no turning back for our young warriors, and as the metal bridge descends from above, they must walk the uncharted path, the road of resistance. At the end of the concert, Babymetal finally crossed the uncharted path, and as the metal spirit burned bright red, everyone became the One, finally regaining the lost metal heart. With the first legend of the trilogy completed, Babymetal then began the next part of their journey, Makuhari Arena once more. The story starts with the mention that a new legend will be born, and then takes us back to Budokan Red Night, the beginning of episode 1. The narrator says that the people who attended that show must have sensed that history was about to change. Now, after the final round of the Budokan show, the One's limits will finally be put to the test. The hands of the clock set by the giant magic circle can no longer be stopped, since it began at the Budokan shows, meaning that the battle had already begun, and that the time to create a new legend has finally come. The One's limits were finally reached, and the epic final battle was won, creating a new legend. And since a new legend had now been created, the second part of the trilogy series is now completed. The final part of the trilogy kicks off at Yokohama Arena, stating that the 3 volumes of the trilogy are both tales of destiny and miracles. The narrator questions if there will be a future at the end of this story, and if it is possible to change this future, saying that will all last strength. We will find the answer to this question. At the end of Road of Resistance, Sue bangs the gong, indicating the end of episode 3. A prologue to the epilogue describes the tale that will lead us to a miracle. The metal spirits of the One, the chosen heroes, have now become an eternal light to make Babymetal shine, and once the final song is played, everyone will become one. The Japanese version of the One is then played, ending the concert. The epilogue then announces the official end of Metal Resistance Trilogy, and now that Babymetal has received the metal spirits from the One, they will now depart to a new stage. The fourth impact, or the fourth chapter of the Metal Resistance is then revealed, beginning on April 1st, Fox Day. A new scripture will come on that day, and spread throughout the world. And on April 2nd, Babymetal will travel back to the Holy Land for their second pilgrimage, the United Kingdom, and attempt history's greatest scripture festival, the Fox Festival, for the first time in a foreign country, at the infamous Wembley Arena. The narrator then tells the One to gather in mass to make this miracle happen, saying that history will once again repeat itself. The hands of the clock has started to move once again, and the impending doomsday can no longer be stopped. And at the last few seconds of the concert, it was revealed that Babymetal's 2016 tour will conclude at the infamous Tokyo Dome. Now for some breakdowns for episode 3. Who is the One? The One is mankind, and is also Babymetal's fandom. What is the new tune? The new tune is Road of Resistance, the song that Babymetal were required to find on their holy pilgrimage. The magic clock we see throughout the trilogy series was set during episode 1, and represents the countdown to Doomsday. Fox Day is something that occurs in the storyline, but to put it simply, it is a special day where something new is announced to the One, whether it be a new album, the start of a new Metal Resistance episode, or some weird cryptic shit that Babymetal throws at us for no reason. A scripture is just a term to describe Babymetal's new album. The Holy Land is a term used to describe the United Kingdom, where the first Fox Festival on foreign lands took place. A Fox Festival is used to describe a major stadium show that Babymetal perform at, and it usually includes the debut of new songs. Now on to episode 4 of Metal Resistance. Episode 4 begins with a story of reincarnation, the reincarnation of Babymetal. Far away in the metal galaxy, the spirit of heavy metal, called the Destinies, were chosen by the Fox God, and were summoned to the magic Fox Circle, an unknown future waiting to unravel. The spirit of heavy metal traveled across the world, rising above language barriers, and went beyond generations, creating numerous legends in their path. The infinity loop returns from episode 2, and the narrator says that in this infinite loop, the metal spirit continues to live. But there is only one path for Babymetal, to let go of their past selves. And when the magic Fox Circle is summoned, even death cannot stop the reincarnation of Babymetal. The spirit of heavy metal then transforms into an eternal light, transcending time and space, ultimately becoming the One. At the end of Road of Resistance, Sue bangs the gong, ending the very first Fox Festival in foreign lands. Episode 4 then continues at the infamous Tokyo Dome in Japan, at Tokyo Dome Red Night. The video at the beginning of Red Night shows all three arenas coming together to form the triangle that we saw at the end of the concert at Yokohama, converging together to pinpoint Tokyo Dome. In real life, all three arenas in Japan actually do form a triangle, with Tokyo Dome right in the middle, so in the lore, this makes perfect sense. Anyways, Koba opens the concert, telling the audience that once the show starts, no one can put a stop to anything once the magic clock starts to tick. He tells the audience to put on their crystal neck braces, saying that it will protect their neck from the approaching battle. He says that the harder they headbang, their metal spirits will generate a power of light, which will be stored into the neck brace. Once Koba finishes, the story of Tokyo Dome Red Knight begins. The Magic Fox Circle from the Wembley show touches down in Japan, transforming into the Tokyo Dome stage. A story then begins, taking place in the summer of 2016, with the colossal being known as the Incarnation of God, evolving into its fourth form. The Incarnation of God released crimson red flames as it pushed its way through uncharted paths, all the way to Tokyo, Japan. Babymetal, also pushing through the uncharted paths of Metal Resistance Episode 4, then descended here, at the pinnacle of the pyramid of the trilogy, the pinnacle being Tokyo Dome, where the greatest final battle in history will take place. In the end, Doomsday is once again coming, and with the 110,000 metal spirits from across the world, they will transform into a powerful light as they make their way to El Dorado to create a brand new legend, and once again, become the One. The One, along with the powerful lights, soar towards El Dorado aboard the Metal Ark, in an attempt to trigger the final countdown. Without the One's neck braces, they will lose their light and their passage aboard the Metal Ark, destined for El Dorado. The narrator says that no matter how treacherous the journey may be for the One, no one can stop their tales, no matter what their destiny may be, and this is how we get to the first and only performance of Tales of the Destinies. With the end of Tales of the Destinies, the One's journey through El Dorado is finally completed, and with their powerful metal spirits, they finally released the all-powerful light from their neck braces. And with that, Tokyo Dome Red Knight finishes. We open Tokyo Dome Black Knight with the retelling of the trilogy series, along with the retelling of Wembley Arena. With countless legends made, Babymetal finally reaches their final destination at Tokyo Dome, where the greatest battle in history will take place. And with the powerful light of the One, they will paint the whole world crimson red. Once again, Doomsday is coming, and the narrator says that once you overcome your past selves, a new legend will be born. As the concert begins, the white-clothed figures from the Wembley show appear at the top of the Tokyo Dome stage, before Babymetal arises from crucifixes, signifying their reincarnation that was talked about before. As the concert finishes, Sue bangs the giant gong, ending episode 4 of Metal Resistance. With the finale at Tokyo Dome, Babymetal has finally been reincarnated, the One has completed their journey, and the greatest final battle has been won. A new legend has been created, and with the Tokyo Dome stage transforming back into the Magic Fox Circle, Babymetal enters it, setting out onwards for their next battle through uncharted paths. Now on to the breakdown for episode 4. The Destinies are a representation of Babymetal, who were summoned to the Magic Fox Circle to await an unknown future. The Magic Fox Circle could be an updated version of the pentagram from episode 1 and can transform into a spaceship, which is what the Tokyo Dome stage is. It is used as a mode of transportation for Babymetal to travel through the metal galaxy. The three figures you see at the Wembley and Tokyo Dome shows are a representation of Babymetal's past lives and are dressed in silver skull masks and white clothes. The three figures disappear at the start of Tokyo Dome Black Knight, which, as we established at the Wembley shows, had to be let go, so Babymetal can be reincarnated. We get more explanation about the three figures as they appear throughout the karate music video. Towards the end of the video, their masks break off, revealing that the people behind them are Babymetal. The crucifixes are crosses that Babymetal use at the beginning of Tokyo Dome Black Night, signifying their reincarnation. The crystal neck braces are neck braces given to the One, so they can release an all-powerful light from within them. The incarnation of God could be a fourth evolved form of the fox god, who went through uncharted paths all the way to Tokyo. We don't get an answer for it, since it is never mentioned again. El Dorado is a place somewhere in the galaxy where the One must travel to trigger the final countdown. It is also never mentioned again. And lastly, the Metal Arc is a magic guitar that the One uses as a form of transportation towards El Dorado. And yes, it is never mentioned again. Now, on to Metal Resistance Episode 5. In my interpretation, I see Episode 5 as a filler story after the gigantic Tokyo Dome shows in Episode 4, and a buffer before Episode 6 kicks off, since there really isn't a lot of lore to talk about. Instead of Episode 5 starting at a stadium show, the episode takes place over 5 small concerts, coined the 5 Fox Festivals, before leading up to the Big Fox Festival. It's unknown when this happens, but the fox god unleashed 5 metal souls into the world, which were passed down to 5 foxes. The 5 foxes eventually became the chosen 5, with their own individual colors: black, red, gold, silver, and white. And that summer, the 5 colors of the fox flames were gathered to burn in the land of the rising sun, which is where the 5 Fox Festivals take place. The Black Fox Festival only had an audience of males only. The Red Fox Festival only had female or mega tsunes only. Gold Fox Festival only allowed a teenage audience. Silver Fox Festival only allowed an audience of elementary school kids and people over the age of 60, while the White Fox Festival required attendees to wear corpse paint. After these festivals took place, the penultimate Big Fox Festival occurred in October, bringing together the chosen 5 foxes to transform into a big fox fire, who will light everyone's metal spirits up. Once the 5 souls converge together, everyone can finally become the One. And so, as the concert concluded, the 5 foxes transformed into the Big Fox Fire, and a new legend was created, ending Episode 5 of Metal Resistance. There will be no breakdown for this episode, since I already explained what the 5 foxes are, so this is the end of the first part of the main lore series. In the next part, I will talk about episodes 6 through 10 of Metal Resistance, where we will explore the light side of Babymetal, the dark side of Babymetal, the Chosen 7, and the Metal Galaxy. If the second part of this video doesn't come out before Fox Day, I will talk about whatever that living legend stuff we got a few months ago, along with whatever will be revealed on April 1st, if we even get anything at all. Until then, like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.